Noob Cyborgs, Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, Scorpion, Shao Kahn, Raiden, Sub-Zero. Come here!
Your spine will shiver. Yes. I'm simply too fast.
The void begins. Death comes for all. Dream of nightmares. Beware the shadows. Outstanding. 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 Outstanding.
You suck.
Don't make me laugh. Impressive.
Welcome back, everybody, to the MK Mobile Podcast, episode 13, and do I have an extremely amazing episode for you to listen to today. That's right, I have the pleasure to sit down again with none other than Mand and Bojidar. Not only are they amazing YouTubers and MK Mobile players, they are just genuinely some awesome guys, and I absolutely loved every second I was able to spend talking to them about this game. In this episode, you're going to be able to hear both of their takes on the best and worst things to come out in MK Mobile in the year 2021. But before we get into that, let me do a quick recap on all the things that happened in 2021. The year started off with the introduction of a gold classic noob Cybot. January, update 3.1.1, we got to finally see the next addition to the classic team. And as the Cold War Tower was ending, we finally got to see the return of the Lin Kuei Tower. And then in March, I got to do one of the funnest things I've ever got to do, and that was talk with Mick Pack, the senior designer for MK Mobile. And directly following that, we got to see the update 3.2 with the introduction of MK11 Rain. And then as April rolled around, we celebrated MK Mobile's 6th year. Crazy it's been that long. And after that, the year's first new tower, the Sorcerer's Tower, made its debut appearance, followed up by another release of a gold character, Classic Jade. Things heated up in July with update 3.3 and the introduction of Fire God Liu Kang. And we ended that month with the introduction of the next newest tower, the Edenian Tower. And come August, we got to see another classic character, Diamond Classic Rain made his appearance. And as fall rolled around in October, update 3.4.1, we got to see one of my favorite characters, MK11 Nightwolf, added to the game. This also brought around the next newest tower called the Earthrealm Tower. The Nightmare Tower made its return, and we got to see a really cool community challenge with a free equipment pack as a reward. November rolled around, and we finally got the third Combat Cup character. Combat Cup Cassie Cage made her debut appearance. And that brings us to December and update 3.5, where we got to see MK11 Sindel come to the game, as well as the introduction of the Dark Queen's Tower. It would also be good to note that we saw a ton of characters get new brutalities, Reptile being one of them. Shang Tsung's head kick was added to the list, Katana's brutality came around, Rain's brutality, Johnny Cage got a brutality, Kung Lao got a brutality, Melina's brutality, and finally, Jax got a brutality. And that wraps up my quick recap of 2021. Now enjoy this awesome interview with Mand and Bojidar.
Thank you for having us.
Oh yeah, no problem. So we did this. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Everybody's staying healthy. Everybody's family's doing good. It's been quite a year, and we did this last year, so I thought it'd be kind of nice just to maybe start kind of a tradition of looking back at Mortal Kombat Mobile every year about this time, and naturally I'm late to the game. You know, it's already January, so I'm kind of late as far as like reviews go, or year in reviews go, but that's kind of a standard on my channel. If you haven't noticed yet, I don't get to put content out very often, so finally getting around to it. But I thought it'd be good to do it again because it has been quite a year, and it'd just be good to do the best and the worst, because I think it's good to kind of look at both angles of it. I don't know what you guys feel.
That's fine by me.
Okay, yeah, and we'll just kind of go through just like the new characters that were introduced, the new towers that were introduced, and just kind of talk about all of those and just kind of give our best and our worst with those. So if you're ready, we'll just start, and we'll just start with all the new characters that were added. And I can kind of run through the new characters here real quick. We had Classic Noob, which actually we knew he was coming at the end of 2020. We just didn't know when he was going to drop, so he actually dropped in 2021. Classic Jade, Combat Cup Cassie, MK11 Rain, Fire God Liu Kang, Classic Rain, MK11 Nightwolf, and MK11 Sindel. So out of all those characters, and maybe Bojidar, we'll start with you. Who was your favorite character that dropped out of that list that I just said?
For me, it would be classic Noob Saibot, because I'm a huge fan of Noob Saibot, as many of us. And it's just, what I like about him is that they integrated him almost as the same as classic Sub-Zero, more specifically his special 2, that kind of detail just impresses me, and his gameplay is awesome, his passive is great, and nothing else.
Yeah. No, I agree. Actually, on for both the Noob Saibots, they've done a hell of a job with gameplay and just the fluidity of the character itself. So, Mand, your suggestion or your pick for the best character, your favorite character that came out?
Okay, I'll ask him about the best or favorite because those are two things.
Let's do best. Let's do best.
Actually, in my opinion, for me, best and favorite is the one and only. If you have seen any of my 50 latest videos, you'll know that this is Classic Rain. Actually, I'll go that far by saying that he's the best character in the game. He's absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, I don't have him maxed out, but I'm working on it.
Right. Yeah, I figured
you're just incredible, man. I mean, he's good everywhere. I never seen character that is good. I mean, literally everywhere. Mm-hmm. He has impeccable special 1, flawless special 2. He's amazing at Fusion Zero. He's amazing in survival mode. He's great in towers. He's great as support. He's great as fighter. He's great as assassin. He can do everything. He can even do dots. He can do anything.
Right.
There isn't any character in the game like this.
Right.
Not even Classic Liu Kang.
Yeah. I knew you were going to pick him, but I wanted to throw that question out there anyways, just for maybe somebody that isn't familiar with you or your channel that's listening to it now. So, yeah. I actually went for the best character. I went with Fire God Liu Kang, just because I was happy to see another Elder God class character finally show in the game. Now, he's obviously kind of mixed. He's with martial arts too. I enjoy his graphics. I enjoy his gameplay. I mean, he was so freaking strong, he crashed the game for quite a while, so you got to note that too. So as far as, like, for my best character, I really enjoyed him. I didn't enjoy fighting against him. That wasn't an enjoyable experience, but I think he might be the best, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and switch to, then, the worst new character. And, Man, why don't you go first on this one if you'd like. So the worst new character added in this last year.
I will be biased, but I am kind of trying to... It will be unfair to say it's Cassie because I don't even have her, even though I have a feeling that once I have her, this opinion will be confirmed that she's the worst. Mm-hmm. But let's say that the worst, unfortunately, in my opinion, is Classic Noob Saibot. He's just... when Bojidar told me how his passive work, oh my goodness, this is the worst thing. Who designs that? It is clearly written on his card, on the passive itself, that once you do special 1, every single attack is considered as unblockable. And when I was testing, I was doing review of this character. Once you have the effect of special 1 active, you're doing special attack, and the damage stays the same, even though it says that every single attack is considered unblockable, and the damage should be boosted by 30%. But at the end, it isn't. And it turns out that it only boosts the damage, even despite the fact that the character has this white stuff, which basically makes any attack unblockable. Mm-hmm. So you will get the damage boost only if the character is blocking. Despite the fact that you have every single attack considered unblockable. It makes zero sense, and in my opinion, it turns this passive into, like, almost useless. The only good thing about it is that you can change his special 1, but many other characters can do that. So I was like, I wanted to take this character as a support, for example, and team him up with classic Scorpion, considering the fact that I'll be doing more damage on my special one.
Right.
But it turns out it's almost impossible to do. So, yeah, I am a little bit hesitant, but I would say classic Noob and Cassie. But
Okay.
I haven't played with Cassie, so I would save classic Noob for now.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's why we have everybody on here, because it's good to get other people's opinions. So, Bojar, in your mind, in 2021, who was the worst new character added?
It would be a really weird answer from me, but I think it's Fargot Liu Kang.
Okay.
I kind of feel his gameplay a little bit awkward, despite him having a great passive and all. But it's just that I don't feel his gameplay that much. Don't get me wrong, I like him as a character, but as of now, plus his bugs every single update,
Yeah.
I don't feel like him
Yeah.
at all.
Nope, that's I totally get it. So this is actually pretty cool, because my favorite was Fire God Liu Kang. Bojidar, your least favorite or worst was Fire God Liu Kang. Your favorite was Classic Noob Saibot, and so far, Mans has been Classic Noob and possibly Cassie. Cassie. So I'm not gonna say Classic Rain, because actually I don't have him yet, but I really want to play him. So my the worst character for me was the Gold Combat Cup Cassie. The cripple immunity, the unblockable chance, the graphics are cool. I get that. The fact that they added a third character into that Combat Cup team, I like that. But you can put Spec Ops in there, Cassie, and she fills that void. You know what I mean? Like, they already had kind of like a Cassie to fill that team. So I just wasn't a big fan of that. Now, is she terrible? I don't think so, but somebody had to fit that spot on this list for me, and she picks it for me. I will say, though, Boja, I know you saw it. Her Nightmare skin was freaking amazing. Did you see that, man?
Yeah.
The Nightmare skin of Combat Cup Cassie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was.
I haven't.
So,
Yeah. That was just as insane as just, I don't know. And I'm so disappointed that they fixed this, to be honest. I
yeah.
was just loving that skin, playing her every time in the tower. And as I always was going through the new update, and the first thing that I tested was that. And as I saw that they fixed her textures, not having the punk Cassie textures,
Yeah.
I was about to give her the last spot, but she doesn't deserve that.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, no, man. I'll try to shoot you a picture of it. It's hilarious. It's like Bojar was saying, her texture was just all messed up, and it looked like she was wearing like the killer jacket, with all the skin and the faces. But it was just ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. But it was kind of cool.
Oh, I know now. I've seen that. She looked like some kind of a mixture between Leatherface and a zombie. Something really weird.
That's
was
right.
getting
Yeah,
there.
it was kind of cool.
I remember it now.
And honestly, Bojar, I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of sad that they fixed that, because it was just kind of a neat thing to have to watch and have happen. But it was crazy. So all right. So with that, now we know our best and worst characters added. Let's move on to the towers. Towers are just a staple of this game, whether you like it or not. I don't see them going anywhere. The practices used in them are changing, but the fact that the towers are there is not going to change. So with that, what was your best? I guess it would be favorite. I guess like it is kind of different, isn't it, man? Let's just stick. What's the best tower in your opinion? And man, we'll start with you.
I don't have a best favorite tower, quite honestly. I don't like this game mode, not at all, not one bit. I literally want it removed, even though I know it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
And if they're not going to remove it, then I want something different, because towers for me are only exciting the first time, maybe the second time. Every single time after the second, it's getting extremely boring, tedious, repetitive, and I want it gone. So I am not enjoying this game mode. And quite honestly, at the end, you have some percentages like what's wrong with them? Why do we have 5% chance to get MK11 range? That's a disgrace. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And currently, I'm not even refreshing the tower for what, 5% chance? That means that on average, I have to finish the tower 50 times in order to eventually max this guy. Like,
Right.
ridiculous. Even 50, I'm sorry, 100 times to get 5 copies, which I currently need in order to max MK on rain. That's not serious. And so, no. I don't like towers. If I have to answer the question, though, my favorite tower, I believe my favorite tower was the Dark Queen Tower because it was more challenging.
Sure. Okay.
I enjoyed the challenge, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Okay. Nope. I respect that. Bojidar, in your opinion, what would be the best tower that was added? And I should maybe go through real quick, Bojidar. We had the Sorcerer's Tower, Edenian Tower, Earthrealm Tower, and the Dark Queens. Those were the towers that were added this last year. So, out of those, which one would you say was the best?
For me, it's kind of on the same page with Mand. Towers are getting a bit too repetitive, and it's like every tower is a disguise of the same tower over and over again. But out of all through the last year, I think it would be Edenian Tower because out of all the towers, I maxed out 2 of the rare pieces of equipment, and I cannot see it every day in every tower. Plus, the colors of the tower were really neat, even though Outworld was the color invaders.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of along with you. The towers were really cool when they first started with like the original Tower of Horror, then the Lin Kuei Tower, and even kind of up to the Nightmare Tower. But they have just started to feel like a rat race. You know, it's a good feeling when you start it, kind of like you said, man. And then I don't know, it just doesn't it doesn't leave you with a good taste in your mouth. Basically, by the time you're done with it. So, I just personally I put down Sorcerer's Tower as my favorite. And the worst, I guess we're getting to the worst, but we kind of know the answer to that. I'll just say that. But it was the Dark Queens or Earthrealm, and that's when they added like those different modifiers like Hex, and that was just kind of like over the top for me, where you couldn't even like keep a character in there. It's just a clear cut way to kind of get players to spend. And I know I'm going to talk about this more later in this podcast, but that was definitely the worst by far for me was the Dark Queens. And the Earthrealm, I guess. So I don't know, man. Did you have? I know the feeling you have for the towers. Did you have like one that just really stuck out as being the absolute worst?
Probably the Black Dragon Tower because I didn't enjoy the epics, even though there is one epic that stands out, and this is the thing that regenerates power.
Cybernetic.
I forgot its name. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I also find another piece very useful from the. But in general case, I don't really like the equipment from the Black Dragon Tower, so probably that's why I don't find it interesting at all.
Yeah.
So it's my least favorite tower.
Okay. I should have added that too. We did have some repeats, some like very brief repeats of towers like Black Dragon, Shiryu, possibly Assassins. I think there was another one that popped in there. But yeah, Bojidar, what was your out of those towers? Which one just kind of stuck out as being the worst?
I hate to say it, but it would be Dark Queen's Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it is difficult or anything else. I really appreciated the difficulty of this tower. This is by far the most difficult tower out of all. And it really brings up the strategies just to beat those hard battles like 184, 190, and so on. But the fact that we have a limited time to even just get to a third round to compete for possibly a sellback and a repeat equipment is just not fun at all for me.
Right.
Even the drop rates as well. I can't see it as much as other towers.
Right. Yeah. Nope. I've got to agree. That's why I put that as well. And just the modifiers are coming up with are just evil. Some of them are.
Yeah. I would also like to add the Bloody Bomb modifier. It's just a masked toxic bomb modifier, just copy paste.
Right.
But instead of poison, it's just bleed.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see that repeat quite a bit. Just like the graphics for the towers, I think you're going to start seeing some of these modifiers, just a modified version of another modifier. And maybe they'll just keep doing that because it's kind of a cheaper way to create it. But I will say, I agree with you as far as the graphics for like the Fatal Towers. I like the fact that they're trying to change it up, putting a little bit of effort into it, like the moon, the blood moon on the Earth realm, I believe it was. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
So it is kind of nice to see them trying to do things every once in a while, rather than just trying to make money. So with that, with talking about making money, there was new equipment added, and with that, there's new brutalities added. So these are the characters that got brutalities last year. We started with Reptile and Shang Tsung, Rain, Katana, Johnny, Jax, Kung Lao, and Melina ended the year. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody, but those are the ones I believe had it. Brutalities added this last year. So Bojidar, with that, what was your favorite brutality that was added in 2021?
I would say Johnny Cage's because it's kind of awesome. It just really acts up to his personality. It's a little bit long, but it really stands out by his character.
Right. Yep, gotta agree. Man, what was your favorite brutality added?
Jax's brutality by far. I just love how the blood not only spills, but it just goes to the screen. It's really,
Yeah, that
really
is pretty cool. Yeah.
I think it's my top favorite brutality in the game, not only for this year. So it's
Oh,
pretty
wow.
awesome. Considering the fact that I don't really like brutality. I know that I don't like brutalities, but in a lot of cases, the brutality will just mess up the character basic attack chaining. So in a lot of cases, I just don't use it, or I just have a character who is specifically in the team so that he can brutalize.
Yeah.
But in my main character, I never use brutality equipment. But for Jax, you can make an exception because his brutality set is just unfairly good.
Yeah. Literally makes a human firework out of someone. Which is pretty awesome. And it does kind of have like a 3D quality. I noticed that too. It does, like, some of the chunks kind of fly towards the front of the screen.
Exactly.
It seems like it. Bojidar, I'm with you. Johnny Cage's was my absolute favorite, just for the fact that it kind of breaks that fourth wall. And really, it's kind of the first character in the game, unless I'm totally blanking on something. It seems like the first character in the game to take that step to go outside the story of the game, because that the microphone comes down and he grabs it, and it's just so fitting for him as well. Moving on to the worst brutality, I'll just start with this one. My absolute least favorite, and I think the worst and probably the laziest amount of work, or there's the least amount of work put into it, was Kung Lao's. I like the new combo under, but the graphics and the brutality. I mean, he has a bladed hat. They could have done so many things, and I wasn't a fan of that one. So that's the worst in my opinion. I don't know, man. What was your pick for that?
Pains of brutality. I just don't like it. It's like no.
Which
it just looks lame. I'm sorry.
Which one was it, man? Sorry.
He just kicks the player from one side to another. The opposite character at some point.
Yeah.
He kicks him to pieces.
Gotcha.
It's just lame.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That was actually, I kind of like that one for some reason. And maybe it's just a throwback to like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Just that reverse roundhouse kick. It was so fun to play as a kid, and it's kind of nice to see it again. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying too. Bojidar, least favorite?
For me, it is Shanks as well because it's not that amazing. It was clearly a reference to a Combat Cup character coming to the game, but it just doesn't work for me, especially when he has more iconic moves like the one where he sucks your soul and just say your soul is mine.
Right. Yeah, that was a missed opportunity there for sure. The soul sucking, where he picks the character up and he shrivels him up into a skeleton. I am surprised they didn't do that, but I'm sure there was probably a reason why. It was too complicated or too many copyrights. Who knows? I don't know. It's such a complex world when you get into that. But yeah, they missed opportunity for that for sure. So that's awesome.
It could be since they didn't even put the voice lines for Kari Tagawa as his tones. So
Right,
this
yep.
might be the case.
Yeah, it was a different voice actor, wasn't it? So it's very possible they couldn't get the rights, or maybe it was just too expensive and lengthy process for them to pursue. Who knows? But yeah, that would have been cool if they could have done that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So moving into kind of the last, or getting near the last part of this episode. The next part is notable moments for MK Mobile in the last year. So anything that stuck out, and this could be good or bad, just kind of a general discussion. Man, why don't we start with you? Any notable moments that kind of stuck out this last year?
Like good moments?
It can be good or bad. Yeah, it's just kind of like anything at this point.
Well, the worst thing, absolute worst thing, is that they start putting, limitation on pack openings.
Mm-hmm.
The absolute worst thing ever that they did. Despite the fact that people are leaving the game, and despite the fact that the, let's say, player base is getting lower and lower, they're still doing it harder and harder. I have no clue why.
Right.
This is the worst thing, and it was most notable thing.
Right.
The best thing is that I can see, at least in my opinion, that they're putting more efforts into the new characters. So every new character is unique and has something unique with it, which is cool. For example, Sindel has this stun, or the pay-to-win button. Also,
Yeah.
classic Rain in MK11 has a soak, which is pretty awesome. Firegoat Liu Kang has this unique thing that he gets fire, heals himself, and increases his, improves his special attacks.
Right.
Which was the other ones that I'm missing? The other diamond. Nightwolf passive is simply again very unique. So this is what I like. They're not giving me that many characters, but I think that they are putting efforts into the character, which is good. The things that I dislike, the limitation of the packs, pretty bad, and that some characters you cannot even get them for souls for, let's say, 6 or 7 or 8 months after their release, which is unacceptable in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it has to be fixed in some way.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
agree.
I played so many games. It's never it's like this ever.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Well, I gotta agree with you. The passives are becoming way more complex, and I do like that. We've come a long way from cost less than other gold characters. Like we've come a long ways from that. So I do like the fact that they are putting more thought into these passives. Because some of them are pretty complex, like Fire God Liu Kang's, like you're saying, and Nightwolves. You really have to study that before you go into a fight against them. So, okay, Bojidar, any notable moments for you that stuck out, good or bad?
Well, let's start with the bad.
Sure.
The worst, maybe it's that stuck out to me were the nerfs of characters. Like they have the dead Jade, they have the dead Kitana, and so on. And not that they are nerfs and that they are counted as nerfs, but the devs just writing them down as fixes, which is not really right.
Right.
The other bad thing is always the pay packs, of course. And that would probably do for the worst part.
Mm-hmm.
The best part would be just the creativity of how the new characters really shine with their new debuffs or buffs, as I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Even the new Sindel with a completely new mechanic, which I was really surprised that they implemented it.
Right.
And finally, from this update was the buff for Baraka, because as really little of my followers know, I am a complete sucker for Scourge Baraka, and he's one of my favorite characters to play.
I knew that. I did know that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I went with definitely the creativity for like a good part that happened. It does seem like they have a team that's kind of focusing on that. And one of the things that kind of got overlooked was this last tower, this Dark Queen's tower, actually kind of came with a backstory. If you read the notes in the update, this was the first tower they actually had they created their own origin story, basically, or not origin, but own story or backstory, like I was saying, for this exact tower. So it was kind of neat to read that, kind of goes along to back when JJ created the quest mode and he put all that work into that big story. So apparently somebody is now back on the team working for original ideas and original stories for Towers. So I do appreciate that. Another kind of cool part that I thought stuck out was they did try to connect with their player base in a couple different ways, which I really enjoyed. Back in like June and July, they had like Fan Art Friday. I don't know if you remember that on their Twitter page. They were asking for fan art for MK Mobile characters or Mortal Kombat characters. They had the Halloween challenge for the free Nightmare Tower equipment pack, so that was kind of cool. So it's kind of nice to see them trying. I mean, you can tell that someone is trying to connect with their player base, but then it's shadowed by all the crazy practices that the actual like business is doing. So the other kind of like big moment that stuck out was that server crash when Fire God Liu Kang was released. I think that was definitely the longest time that the game's been down for a server crash. So I had to at least mention it in this part of the episode. So that's what I have for me. Now the next question is kind of a big one, and I was actually, I don't know if I was kind of questioning even putting it in there, but I thought it would be good too, just because I got two really smart dudes on this podcast, and I want to hear your opinion on this. But the biggest problem facing MK Mobile moving into this new year, what would you say it is? And Bojidar, we'll start with you.
It's mostly just not that much creativity, almost like we're having a deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
Like only one gold character, only one diamond character, and mostly this MK11 character, and one brand new tower for every update. That's probably the worst part,
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of nothing new, and there is nothing much to cover, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Nope, those are good points. Mand, anything on that?
Well, I have two things that I would appreciate the game would. Actually, three. The first thing is that they have to either shut down the customer service department or improve it.
Right.
Because it doesn't do anything, it's even harmful. Every time when I try to contact them for something, I'm getting angry after our conversation is over.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, they don't help, like, at all. They are harmful, and if they think that, they can only save money. Say they are money hungry, so they can save money by shutting it down. So that's a good thing. At least you know that there is no hope. Now you know there is hope, but once you get in touch with them, you know there isn't hope.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing, customer service has to be improved. That's, in my opinion, very, very important. The second thing, a new game mode, something that's not tower, something that's not survival mode, faction, or something different that you didn't have before. It might be, for example, player versus player, but let's say this way we can do. I know that's impossible for two players to tap on the screen at the same time, but let's say you pick up three teams and you fight with another preset player, three teams, and it's like 2 of 3 or something like this. And of course, the AI controls the teams. That would be pretty awesome. For example, another mode that they could do is 5 versus 5, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It can be only a purely fun mode that you can get some crazy good, let's say, victory stances, taunts, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing that's much more important is that they have to make sure that there is something for the free-to-play players after each update, because currently there is nothing for the free-to-play players after each update,
Right.
which basically means that nobody cares whether an update is coming because they'll never get the character.
Right.
And that's bad. Okay, those are the 3 things basically.
No, those are good. Both you guys, those are great. And this was kind of like open. This question, literally, this could be its own episode. Honestly, it really could. It's just like opening a can of worms when you ask like what's wrong with the game and what they could fix from a player standpoint. I was with you, man. One of the things I think they're going to have a problem with is creating a balanced game for new and veteran players, as well as free-to-play players. I think that's always just been an issue ever since 2.0, when they had this idea of monetizing every single aspect of the game. They've just excluded that group of players, and the veteran players kind of really got the shaft, so to speak, on that too. So I think that's a big issue. That's going to be a problem that they're going to have if they even care to try to look at it that way. Server issues, bugs issues, those are a couple other things I think that are going to be problems if they don't get a handle on them. And that's actually a repeat, Bojidar, of last year's, and yours too, man. Actually, you brought this up in last year's episode. They have a business to run, and that's fine, but they need to take care of that business. They need to take care of that structure underneath it, and sometimes those bugs get way out of control. The other thing was just how low and far they're willing to go to make money. I think that's one of the biggest issues. And when are they going to sit down and just look at it outside of that building that they're in? Or is it beyond that point? It might be beyond that point. I don't know. But those are all major issues I see with the game. I mean, I love the game. I think everybody that plays it loves it. That's why we sit here and talk about it. But we also care enough about it to point out some of these problems that we see with it. So with that, let's end on a light note. So what do you guys look forward to in the game for 2022? And this can be new characters, towers, brutalities, anything of that nature. Man, go ahead if you want to.
Well, to be honest, I don't care about towers at all. Quite honestly, I'm pay to win, so I buy the equipment anyway. So for me, grinding towers is worthless, it's pointless. I'm not going to grind tower for 5% chance to get a character. Not in 1,000 years. I'm not going to do that. Right. However, for 2022, I won't be spending a lot. Probably I'll just buy the new character, do some kind of a live stream, and then buy this offer for $20, and that's it. I have enough epic towers, and it's like I just figured out it's funnier and easier to grind towers when you don't have maxed out epics. To summarize, I don't care about towers. I want to have new game mode. That's the only thing that I want for this year. And another thing which I failed to mention is that I will be happy if they find out a way to fix bugged characters faster than 4 or 5 months until the next update.
Yeah.
Because and especially when we're talking about the cash cows, they're currently selling, not currently, but lately they were selling multiple times Classic Rain, who is currently bugged, and they're selling it for money. So you can literally spend, hundreds of dollars and get a product that doesn't work to the full extent. And when you contact the useless customer support, they say that they will forward to the developer team and they will fix it with the highest priority in the next updates, which basically means 2-3 months, which is absolutely unacceptable.
Right.
They have to fix it now or issue a compensation. This is how every business works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah, you're right. It's like buying a car with a known defect and not being able to get it fixed. And you're right, those hot patch updates or those fix updates, they're spread out pretty far. And I haven't done any research on other mobile games, but I'm assuming that if there's other games out there that find a problem, they're going to try to fix it as quickly as possible and possibly compensate for that. Like again, I haven't done the research on that, but I'm just assuming. But no,
I have, for example, the other game that I cover, Era of Chaos. They recently had second anniversary, and the update was full of bugs, really full of bugs. So they stopped the game for like 1 hour or something, and then they issued extremely good compensation. Right. So I was really happy that the game was down for 1 hour.
Right.
This is the way you do it, right?
That's the way it should work.
Yeah. But Mortal Kombat Mobile, only if the servers are completely down for a couple of days, only then you're going to get some. Even when so many players couldn't complete Tower 200 because they reset the tower, some weird bug, they didn't issue compensation for anybody. Even there were certain guys, for let's say about 100, which basically means that they're going to get one blue tower piece. They didn't give compensation for that.
Right.
Because, and the thing that really, really bothers me about this is not that they don't give compensation. The thing that bothers me is that it literally costs them absolutely nothing to do that. They don't lose money. They don't do anything. They just have to, let's say there's a variable somewhere in the code. They didn't have to change the value of the variable and issue compensation. So nothing. They don't have to do anything. Yeah. And that's really, really bad. They can only keep their fan base happy by doing almost nothing, and they don't do even that, and that drives me crazy. Really, I don't understand why. It's like it doesn't cost them anything.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty wild to actually sit back and look at it in the way you just explained it. It's like, what is happening here? But I I hopefully somebody will listen to what we're talking about here and I don't know, take it and work with it, or who knows. But thank you for all those. Bojidar, moving on to you. What do you look forward to the most in 2022? Again, it can be characters, towers, brutalities, like Man was saying, fixes, anything of that nature.
First of all, to be a little bit more fairness towards free-to-play players like myself, and not just more access to content for pay-to-play players with all those tower equipments, character packs, and so on. The other thing is obviously fixing the bugs more often, because I'm so tired of posting those bugs over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just tiring to sit over them and just place them every time in Casey's tweet.
Yeah, the ever-growing bugs list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just really a problem, because with every update they just increase and they do not lower, and it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is probably put a different game mode, just because we can have something different to play, not only the towers or faction wars, because they are now more like a deed to do than play them with joy.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
And for characters, I don't know, it probably won't happen, because the license, I don't know how they will be with the licensing at all, at least. But I kind of like Kratos to be added in MK Mobile, since
Yeah.
God of War Ragnarok is coming soon.
Yep.
And just seeing him would probably be a cool thing to be added in the game.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's probably it for now.
Okay, I gotta agree with you. The playing the new mode of gameplay would be greatly appreciated, I think, by everybody that plays the game. And you're right. It's almost like just you go in to play those towers and it's just to get it out of the way. Like I actually enjoy just one tower. Whether it's, I don't care if it's the fatal or the normal. I just, when there's two towers, it's like I have a busy freaking life, barely any time anymore to even play the game. That's just adding more time for me to go in there and just try to keep up with it, you know. So I would love to see a different gameplay, maybe just one tower. I don't know. But as far as like what I would like to see new characters wise, Kratos would be amazing. I would love to see Kratos. Spawn, obviously, I'm a huge fan of Spawn and Todd McFarlane. I'd love to see a character like that. Licensing, like you said, Bojidar, is probably a huge issue. One of the main things though is guaranteed character at the top of the tower. Man, you brought this up a little bit ago. You get, what, a 5% chance to get one of the new characters. If you've busted your ass all the way up that tower, you should be guaranteed that character. I'm sorry, especially for the free-to-play players who are out there creating amazing strategies, like Crispplay, Legendus, even you, Bojar. You guys are creating these crazy strategies with equipment that's not even tower equipment. You should at least get the character that's introduced. That's my opinion. I mean, that's
especially the tower is there for 2 weeks only, so you cannot really max out this character.
Exactly.
Even if it's guaranteed.
Exactly. I mean, just for compensation, just for being able to climb that tower without equipment, come on, do something. I mean, that should be a reward. That should actually would probably make other players want to strive to create different techniques and strategies to get up there too. But anyway, so that's probably the biggest thing that I hope to look forward to, is just a guaranteed character.
Exactly. And it's just stuck out to probably after the Black Dragon Tower, because Black Dragon Tower was probably the final tower to at least guarantee the character that is new.
Yep.
And with these new limited times, at max 3 times per fatal run, it's just sickening, because my recent runs were all MK11 Jade Cell bugs, not even
Oh,
a new
jeez.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there should be a change.
Definitely.
It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. The Black Drag Tower is awesome. You got Kano on the normal, and you got Tremor on the fatal, and
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, both you said it's only around for a limited time, so the max you're going to get is maybe 3 characters of the new character. If they're worried about people maxing out new characters, you're still not ever going to see another copy of that for maybe a year or two. So I just
Even for equipment, rather.
Right.
Because even some of the people that I have seen on Twitter, they have gotten 3 Jinxed whips, not single different equipment.
Right, and that actually reminds me of the first Lin Kuei Tower, where the reward was only the scepter, and after that they changed it to random epic after that. So yeah, you're kind of getting stuck. Yeah, I'm not sure, but those are awesome points. That kind of wraps. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish my part up. Spawn, I would love to see Spawn. I would actually like to see Injustice Scorpion ascend to a diamond and get an awesome passive. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but he would be pretty fun to play with this new Tanya that they just came out with. Just looking at her passive, the Pyromancer Tanya. As far as brutalities go, I would love to see Goro get a brutality. Those are just some things that I would like to see happen in here. So with that, it kind of wraps everything up. Do either one of you have anything you'd like to add? Or did I miss anything, maybe?
For me, I think not.
Okay. Man, you got anything you'd like to add? Or, like I said, did I miss anything? I kind of scrambled to put all this together, so hopefully I didn't miss any major parts. Or
Let's hope to a very good year that will revive the interest in the game, because it's slowly declining. After update 3.3, it's really, really declining, unfortunately.
Right on. Yep, I can agree with that 100%. So, okay, guys, thank you so much. Let's end it with kind of giving where people can find you, so what your socials are. So, Bojidar, go ahead. Start with you.
For me, you can find me on Twitter at abnoshka or Bojidar Mitrev, or in YouTube, again, Bojidar Mitrev.
Awesome, thank you. Man, I don't think people are going to need to know where to find you, but just in
Yeah, I
case.
have a YouTube channel. You can just type in Mand and K Mobile. You can find me. I'm easy to find. Also, I have a Discord. A pretty good Discord, by the way. More than 1,600 now members. Not quite sure, but pretty good Discord. And yeah, you can find a lot of useful strategies when you're doing towers there, and a lot of good community there. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
You're welcome to join if you want.
Awesome. Well, thank you both, guys. I would like to try to do this every year if possible. It's kind of starting a cool little tradition here. But yeah, thank you both for joining in this podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
You bet, man. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the MK Mobile Podcast. The MK Mobile Podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to me on YouTube as well as follow me on Twitter at GameTime Gaming 1, where you'll find MK Mobile information, gameplay, and more.